Didi Gregorius. He hits his 25th home run of the season. It was the most home runs hit in a single season by a Yankee shortstop all time. He hits the home run, and he drops the bat, and in dropping the bat, he actually hits the catcher. So he hits the home run, and then he turns and he apologizes to the catcher for hitting him with the bat. And what I threw out there was this was literally an excuse me swing, because he hit the home run and he said excuse me. And more importantly, what I wanted to say is Didi Gregorius has exceeded. I was never for him. I come on this show a lot and I say, hey, I predicted this and I said that. I came on this show and I said, I don't like the deal. And I'm not even ashamed of it, and I'll tell you why.
Too many lefties at the time.
Yeah, at the time, it was too many lefties. And I said, this is another lefty with a 214 batting average that they're saying, well, we could hit, at the stadium and all of that. But you want to know something? Credit Cashman and anybody else involved, and I'm gonna tie somebody else into it for a minute. But what I sent out with that tweet was, I said that this guy is a core player for years to come and a class act. What more can we ask for from Didi Gregorius? Well, he's hitting 291 and he's got 21 home runs. The one I wanted, if you remember, I wanted Elvis Andrus. I wanted to make it. I'm not so ashamed to say that because I just looked him up before the show. He's batting 301 with 20 home runs. So that's the one. But he was right-handed, and I thought he was one of these guys that could play better on the big stage. But I am so happy with Didi Gregorius for all the reasons why we're saying. It's not only the offense, it's not only the 25 home runs, it's the defense, and it's amazingly, it's the intangibles because he's just terrific and in every way. And to tie it in, we're going to go over to the next graphic, and somebody else gets credit for touting Didi Gregorius and saying, go out and get this guy. So we're going to go over to G18. And since we filmed the last episode, Gene Michael passed away. And Gene Michael, his nickname was Stick, was the GM and the architect of the Yankee dynasty, of which they won 4 World Series in 5 years, going from 96 to 2000. And he died on September 7th. He was 79 years old. I've always spoken about Gene Michael through the years, going back to the early 90s. And what I find is so unfortunate is that he never really got the credit for what he built. Why? Basically because they got rid of him, before 96. And why did you get rid of him before 96? That's a good question. Somebody should answer that for me. And so he never got, he never got the kudos, he never got the credit. But when you stop and think that under Gene Michael's watch, the Yankees drafted or signed each of the members of the core 4, Jeter, Pettit, Posada, and Mariano Rivera. He also traded for Paul O'Neill. Just as importantly, he talked George out of trading away Bernie Williams. Add to that, Gene Michael hired Buck Showalter to be the manager. When you add that all together, ladies and gentlemen, when he took over a team in the early 90s that was in upheaval, George Steinbrenner was banned from the team. He had a lifetime ban against him. And when George said, well, if I can't actively own the team on a day-to-day, I'm taking my checkbook with me. So what Gene Michael did was bring in all of these players that I just managed without a checkbook. So if that's not amazing, I don't know, I really don't know what is. And then if you want to tie it into the last story that I just mentioned about Didi Gregorius, John Heyman, back when the trade was made for Didi Gregorius, and he's very well respected, John Heyman, he said that at that time, special advisor Gene Michael loved Didi Gregorius, and he advised the Yankees to make that trade.
Yeah, he has a unique eye for talent, Gene.
He has a unique eye, and here was Buck Showalter's quote. He said that Gene Michael was the best baseball evaluator I ever saw, and he never missed on an infielder. And you know what?
That was his specialty.
And he didn't miss on Didi Gregorius. So just really, amazing. And what I would say is there were a lot of kudos thrown Gene Michaels' way by everybody, including Brian Cashman and everyone. But my frustration was that when you think about Gene Michael, when I think about him as the architect, the thing that he was most prideful was on-base percentage. He preached that before the Oakland A's stole that idea from him and called it Moneyball. And my frustration was, through the years, what happened was the proliferation of the shift, and the Yankees just went with power hitters and lefty slow-footed bats. And so I'm saying, if you're going to pay homage to Gene Michael, at least understand what he stood for. Don't take a dynasty and change it. I've been saying that for the last 15 years. That doesn't make sense, and that's exactly what they did. Last year, the Yankees were 25th in on-base percentage out of 30 teams because two left-handed, they forgot about on-base percentage, but here's the good news is, I think that Brian Cashman, he did learn from the error of his ways. He went with a stacked right-handed lineup, balanced. You have your lefties, you have Didi, and you have other lefties, and the lefties are doing well, and Greg Bird and all this other stuff, but it's balance. And these guys are hitting to all fields. And look at the difference. The Yankees are in the top 5 in runs scored. They're in the top 5 in on-base percentage this year. Little things, just little things. Like last year that I preached, that I said Severino was 0-8 with an 8.5 ERA because he's not throwing a third pitch. Look at what that little thing did with Severino. Severino is the difference between last year and this year. This year, he's a Cy Young candidate. Last year, he was 0-8 with an 8.5 as a starter. All the difference in the world. This year, you got righty bats, you got an infusion. They're looking. Look what happens when these right-handed bats hit the ball to the opposite field. Good things happen. I told I mentioned to you. I said that the philosophy that Holiday taught them was look to go oppo with fastballs. Don't pull a fastball, and if it is an off-speed pitch, then you're going to be out in front, but you're going to pull that ball to left for a home run. You're not going to hit it into the stands at 118 miles an hour and hurt a 2-year-old girl.